Hi, I'm Sarah Hart from Drive Hart. What I'm going to give you now is a basic briefing on unmarked crossroads. I would normally interact quite a lot with my pupil on this, but obviously I haven't got a pupil with me, so I'll just do the basic briefing for you. But I would actually start by asking them all they knew about crossroads, and I'd start off by talking about unmarked crossroads. A bit as it says on the tin, an unmarked crossroads is a crossroads with no marking, so it doesn't have any lines at all on the road. And I might ask my pupil to have a look at this situation. If this was us and another car was coming from our right, we're both following the road ahead, so we're on collision course, who would have priority? And very often they will say, well, the car to the right, because they're of course thinking about roundabout rules, but actually neither of us have priority. So with a little bit of toing and froing, we could put some other cars into the mix, but the end of the day, the way to keep safe is to hold back, be prepared to hold back. Of course, the other car might flash their lights, the driver might indicate with a hand signal that they might want you to go through, but obviously we've talked about interpreting hand signals and flashing of lights. So the main message is, if in doubt, hold back. There are some times when you come up to an unmarked crossroads where you get a very strong gut feeling that one or t'other of the roads is the main road. And again, I'll try and ask my pupil and bring them to the table with suggestions for that. Maybe one of the roads is wider and the two off left and right are smaller and narrower. You might think that the big wide road is the main road. One of the roads may be very busy and these two are very quiet. Again, you might be led to believe that the busy road is the main road, and that's of course not the case. If there are no lines, there are no priorities. So again, treat it with great caution. Also, the way that the road maintenance people have tarmacked the road, they might have rolled the tarmac through on this road and then come round with their roller and tarmac this road second, which is going to give a good, clear, unbroken line of tarmac down this road, with little ridges perhaps of tarmac at the side of the road, a bit like if you've rolled out the dough with the rolling pin. You'd get a little ridge. So it might lead you to believe that that is the main road. Again, you must stress that there are no priorities. So in order to keep safe, hold back.
So does that conclude the briefing on unmarked crossroads?
Yes, I mean obviously it's a very basic briefing, but that's the number that, yeah.
So the key message there is actually approach with extreme caution.
Yes.
Nobody's got real priority. And that's the key learning points.
Yes, nobody has priority. Always be prepared to hold back. And you might find some unmarked crossroads. They're particularly in housing estates. They're not even signed. So it's about looking well ahead and looking and seeing what's happening to the road ahead of you.
Okay, if we move on now to marked crossroads.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we've got different types of marked crossroads. Marked with lines and traffic lights, lines, traffic lights and boxes. So we'll have a look at the marked with lines crossroads. And I'm going to use my magnetic board for this one. So we would usually have a sign, a triangular sign, to tell us that we're coming up to a marked crossroads, and the sign would be one of those. That's if we're on the main road, following on the main road. So on approach to the marked crossroads, what would we have to do? Well, it's a hazard where we may have to change speed, so clearly we'd need to check our rear view mirror. And if we're following the road ahead, we just need to scan left and right, make sure there's no one emerging, and take appropriate action if there was any activity going on there. But with due care and attention, you can come through the crossroads. So what happens if we're on the main road and we want to turn into the side road on the left? Well, basically, it's a mirror signal, position, speed, look, assess, decide, act process. But of course, our looking and assessing, we've just got another area to look at. So we're going to be scanning round to this side road on the right, obviously scanning ahead as normal, and scanning into our side road and making a normal left turn. What about turning right? Again, it's a normal right turn, MSPSLADA, but on approach we're scanning here. We're obviously scanning ahead for oncoming traffic. That would be perfectly normal. If there's somebody coming, we're going to wait, normal, and making our turn into the side road on the right. The difficulty comes when we have an oncoming car who wants to turn into his side road on the right, and we want to turn into our side road on the right. So now we are potentially on collision course. Now, it might be felt prudent to go around the back of each other. So in other words, offside to offside, so driver side to driver side. So this is a good way to make a right turn, because from here we've got a better view of the road ahead of us, and Mr. Mustard has got a better view of the road ahead of him. So we can quite safely make the right turn around the back of each other. And I say quite safely, that is of course if we're both thinking along the same lines, because of course the danger is that we're planning on going round the back of Mr. Mustard, and Mr. Mustard has got different ideas. He's thinking that we're going to go around the front of each other, and there is your collision. And that's a classic formation of two cars crossing at a crossroads where they've had a collision. So what can we do to keep safe? If we're in any doubt at all, and there may well be road markings in some places, but if we're in any doubt at all, we're just going to hold back. Normal thing, let Mr. Mustard come, let Mr. Mustard turn, and then we can proceed to our point of turn and make a safe turn. So the same message is coming through: if in doubt, hold back. So let's have a look now at what happens when we're emerging from the side road. Assuming there's nobody on the road opposite us, then if we're turning left, we can check the main road, make sure it's safe. Normal emerging procedure. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. If of course there is somebody opposite us, it might be that we're not on collision course. So there's a number of routes that we could take where we could both emerge safely, of course providing that the main road is safe. However, what happens when we're on collision course? Let's say that we're turning left, Mr. Mustard is turning right. We're clearly on collision course because we're both aiming for this bit of tarmac. And a lot of people say, well, we've clearly got priority because we're not crossing a lane. And that's a sensible conclusion. However, the instructions that we both have are the same. We both have give way lines. We have to give way to traffic on the main road. So we can't assume that Mr. Mustard is going to hold back for us. So we come back to that same old thing: if in doubt, hold back. And we'd be looking for signs and symptoms of him perhaps being in a hurry. He might be nudging forward, he might be leaning out, he might be stretching, he might be creeping forwards. And again, I'd interact with the pupil on this, getting them to come up with some of those ideas. If he's wanting to go out from his body language, you know what, just let him go. Don't wave him, obviously, don't flash him, let him make that decision. But of course, he might not be making any move at all, he might be sitting tight. In that case, making sure that the main road is safe, we're going to emerge safely, using our MSPSL, of course. He might be flashing his lights, he might be waving, which might indicate that he wants us to go. But of course, that's always the might indicate. And again, make sure you check the main road before emerging, because a lot of people will wave you and flash you to go, and they haven't checked the main road, and there's a 10-ton Tessie coming down the main road at you. You've got to check that it's safe before you emerge. So again, the message is, if in doubt, hold back. And another little one is, if you're coming up to the crossroads and you can see that you're going to be on collision course because of his signal, you could actually just hold back from the give way line. So again, without flashing or waving, you've just held back. You're not telling him to go. All you're doing is letting your body language of your car suggest that you're not going to push up to the lines until it's clear. So hopefully that's a relatively simple way of explaining crossroads with lines. Have you got any questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you.